Well, it's been a while since I've done one of these, but welcome to the Big Guy Garage. We've got something special to be doing here these next couple of weeks, and I'm going to do it good because I don't like it done just the way it looks, like a just crappy out of the junkyard thing. But I've got a truck out here, and it's getting LS swapped. Let's take a look at it. So, this is a 66 C10. Let me zoom here. Yeah, 66 C10. Sometimes we call it sun-kissed. Sometimes we don't. But right now it's a 327 in it. It's a decent motor. But honestly, it's weak as water. I mean, because hey, small block. Come on. I'm trying to open the hood right now, one-handed, and it don't work so good. Yeah, I'll get this figured out right here in a second. Well, anywho, for when I get this open, I'm LS swapping it. It is a short wheelbase. I'm gonna have to open that here in a second. It's getting on my nerves, but anyway, short wheelbase, orange with a pearl and a flake in it. It's a pretty nice truck. It's a 327 3-speed with 411 gears. You know what that means? It means it sucks on the road because you're doing like 3,700 RPMs at like 50 miles an hour. It sucks. So your options are: one, put a different transmission in it. You're going to pay $700-ish for a transmission for a 4-speed, like a 700 R4. Then you got to hook it up. Then you got to get your lock up and everything like that. Or you put a rear end in it, which is going to cost you like $200 or $300. But, you know, if you ain't got the gearing just right, you're still in the same zone you're in. Or you LS swap it. LS swap, it's going to run you like $3,000. Not only do you get, 400-ish horsepower, especially with what we're doing, you get 4-speed. 411 ain't going to hurt anything. You're still going to get like 20 miles per gallon, especially in this. And fuel injection. So why would not? It is chock full of parrot treat now. Which includes, we're going to put a sheet metal intake on here with a 102 millimeter throttle body. This is from Sharp Customs. Aluminum radiator with electric fans. That's all the motor mounts, trans mounts, everything like that. Over there is headers and harness. In here is a Texas Speed Chupacabra cam kit. That's going in the LS, of course. Also, the fuel pump and stuff's in here. Things I don't have yet are like my fuel lines, the Corvette style returnless fuel filter, because again, 66, we're leaving this tank behind the seat and it don't have a return. So you can add a return, you can like screw one in, but I just said, hey, it's Corvette one. We'll hide it under the door over here. Easy peasy. Now, if I can just get this stupid hood to open. Always give me fits opening here. Let me see. Right there. It's like it don't release enough to release, if that makes any sense. There we go. Gotta push it down a little bit. Yeah, but I mean, 327 Demon carburetor. I think it's just a mid-rise intake on it. Headers. It's some good stuff. It does have a cam in it. It runs halfway decent. But again, you hammer it. It ain't got no balls. Hold on a second here. I am choking to death. It ain't got no balls. Because small block, unless you're building something ridiculous, it ain't gonna have nothing. But this motor's coming out, radiator out, everything's getting gutted under there, and this truck is what I would consider to be what you want to start with for anything. Look at the frame. Look, I mean, the whole truck's this clean. The inner fender wells, it's mint. This truck is mint. Like, honestly, if this thing was like a slant 6 and had highway gears, it would still be very, very drivable and very, very desirable. Right now, it kind of sucks. It's just no fun. And what I mean by no fun is it's just, if you've rode in anything fuel injected, a carbureted 350 or 327 in this case is just nothing anymore. They're not fast. They're not, I mean, they're kind of reliable, but not really. So it's getting LS swapped, period. I'm going to do my best to make this thing not look like you literally took it out of a truck and plopped it in here. I want it to look clean. It's getting painted competition orange, the LS is. I don't know if he's ordering the classic look valve covers for this, but you know, again, all this stuff has got to be fixed. But it is a really, really clean truck. Thanks for honking, stupid. Clean everything, like seriously clean. The floors are untouched in this. You know, it's got its little areas, but what doesn't when it's 66, you know? What doesn't? So, yeah, I'm going to unload all these very choice parts into the garage until this weekend when I start pulling her apart. Yeah, I mean, you can see this thing is clean, pristine. But this is, you know, I just got it home. It is not mine. I am building it for somebody. So we're going to get it looking spiffy, going down the road fast, straight, and killer. So day 1 right now. Day 2, I'll pull it in Saturday. It's Thursday. The 21st is today. So if you wanted to know. But got to pull my car out. Got to back this one in, pull the hood, and start pulling battery, radiator, fuel lines, etc. But day 1. Well, today starts the first day. Well, it's actually not even the day. It's the first evening. It is 7:02. Not going to be getting much done today. Today's Sunday. We've done a lot around the garage, getting it clean. But the first steps are the appearance steps, you know, to doing a motor swap. And it's pretty easy. You know, pull the battery. That's number 1. These are the simple steps. You know, if you don't know what it is, Derek asked the other day, Vice Grip Garage, what's the first step? Well, it's going to be pulling your battery. You know, you got to have the battery out. You don't want stuff arcing. So, after that, fluids. Remove your radiators, drop your fluids, get them out, dispose of them. You know, I'm not going to tell you how to dispose of them. That's to your own discretion. I can't tell you. But the second part is going to be like exhaust, drive shaft. Now, if you don't have a lift, you know, drive shaft is going to be your, you know, down the list. If you're using a lift, drive shaft might be your first thing on your priority list. Not mine. I don't have a lift. I do have concrete now, thank God. As Oliver Platt would say.
Praise him in all his mercies.
But I digress, because we need to pull the drive shaft after we get all the fluids out and everything. I'll jack it up real high, put it on some jack stands. But these are the beginning stages. I have to pull the carburetor off this. Reason being is I have an engine leveler down here. And in order to use that, you can try to use it with a carburetor on it, but where this is like a mid-rise intake, might be a high rise. No, it's a mid-rise, but they got a spacer on it. I don't want to take a chance in jacking up this $600-700 carburetor. Probably even $800. It's a Demon. Don't know what size. Can't seem to find it on there anywhere. But anyway, yeah, I don't want to jack that up. Somebody's already paid for this motor. They bought it. So, you know, Well, they haven't paid, but they already wanted it, so it's already sold. They get from carburetor, oil pan, and from header to header, so it's all theirs. But anyway, I'm gonna pop you over here on the time lapse and start by pulling this battery out. By the way, it is an Optima. We are not sponsored by Optima. I wish. You know, we're not roadkill or anything, but it'd be cool to have, you know, a battery sponsor or any kind of sponsor, really. I try. It just never works out. So, battery, fluids, carburetor, drive shaft. It's my first steps.
Soundstrap.
So, you saw me pull the battery in the carburetor. I'll show you what I hate. I hate when people do this. I try not to do this because I don't ever do it. Double stack carb gaskets. Notice how none of these are stuck together? I don't like that. It's like the carburetor was never actually seated right, or squished down good enough. But yeah, they have a spacer and then a giant thick gasket that's a spacer too. Why? I don't know. It probably wasn't helping nothing. Oh, and also, flare your ends. That's a copper line, which it don't matter, but why wouldn't you flare that? Flare them. Make sure your gas line don't pop off going down the road. But battery and carbs off. I have to pull any electronics off, such as, you know, the wiring, because it's not staying with the motor, even though a lot of it's going to be deleted because I don't need it. But yeah, it's got to come off. This stays. We'll move it over. Hey, that's just like the one on my 41. Look at that. That's just like it. I wonder if that's what it came from, a C10. I don't know. I'll look that up though. That's interesting. Mine has the bottom vacuum on it too. It looks like somebody's put stainless steel lines all the way on this, which is awesome. And I can tell you they're from Classic Tube because they had to straighten it out, because I have to do it to every one of them. I don't know. But yeah. It's a good intake. It's very clean inside. I believe it was overloading a lot, but that's just the way it is. Is this a universal intake? No. Why has it got the... Oh, throttle brackets. Oil. But yeah. Carbs off. Next step is draining the fluids out of the radiator. Got a brand new drain pan / oil pan for that. So this is probably full of Kool-Aid. Ooh, still had some pressure on it. Oh yeah, full of the Kool-Aid. It's a lemon lime flavor. But next step is draining fluids. But I think I'll wait till tomorrow to get more into it, or whenever I get out here next. I'm tired, so I just wanted to get something done to it. The exhaust is probably going to have to be cut and refit, probably pretty far back there. Not to mention, I'll show you these. I was going to wait and show everybody that, but this is the trans cross member, which has exhaust cutouts. It's from Tin Works, Tin Work Fabrications, and it's killer. But yeah, so I'm gonna have to cut that exhaust back far enough to where they can refit it to fit, you know, this setup with the LS in it. Because a lot of this older exhaust is just like back through there, you know. But yeah, it's not gonna work for the LS setup, so I'll have to cut it off. And yeah, but yeah, headers are staying with it and everything, so I'm good for tonight. Well, we're about to get started again today. I need to pull the fan shroud so I can get to everything on the radiator. And you know, I got to thinking last night, does this thing even have trans lines to this radiator? If it does, they'll be on the bottom. But you know, I don't see any. So maybe this thing has a trans cooler somewhere, which I'll have to find, if at all. And if it don't, I'm not sure if our new radiator has the trans line set up on it either, which we're going to need it for sure with the 4L60. But yes, today I need to get all the electricals unhooked from the top. I need to get the fan shroud off, and I need to drop the fluids out of the radiator. More than likely, this upper radiator hose will not be used. The lower one, maybe. Don't know yet. We'll have to find out. But yeah, it's just going to be a lot of unhooking stuff and draining fluids today. Let's see here. Is there anything else? No, after that, it's just jacking it up, and then I got to pull the exhaust off of it. It's probably going to have to get cut because, again, the new cross member has exhaust holes through it. And yeah, it's not going to go through without being refit. So, no big deal. What else is there I need to keep an eye out for? Heater hoses, I can probably reuse those. Those won't be a problem. But yeah, let's get busy. First off, sorry for the fan, but the gas fumes are kicking in here, so I had to turn that thing on. But radiator's out, hoses are off, everything's off, ground's off, both sides. They had another ground on this side for some odd reason, I don't know. I got most of the wiring pulled back. I think the only wires that are left on this side now are the starter power wire and the ignition switch, or the ignition wire. And there's also the, I don't know what the wire's called, the yellow wire right here. Basically, it goes down there too. There's a purple, a yellow, and I think there's a green or a blue too. I'm not sure. It depends on the model, you know, what harness this is. I believe this is an aftermarket harness that somebody's already chopped into a little bit, but a lot of this stuff won't be getting used. So next step, jack it up, put some jack stands under it, fit my fat body under there, undo the starter bolts for the power to the starter, because we will still need this power cable, just like the ground. I already got it off. We'll need it too. I might have to make longer ones, or he'll have to order long ones, whichever ones he wants to do. Yeah, but unbolt the exhaust. That's all next. So basically everything else is under car now, until time comes to pull the motor. Oh, there is an oil sensor, or an oil gauge back here I recently put in. You saw it on TikTok if you watch my TikTok. Right there, you can just see it right there. But I have to pull that too. This actually has two right now on it, because it has the factory one to the gauge, which is still hanging there. I didn't cut it off or nothing. And then that one. So, yeah. I'll figure out which one he wants to use, and we'll go from there. I'd probably use the aftermarket one, because I'm afraid the oil pressure might blow out the gauge. But anyway, let's get this thing up in the air. And just in case any of you was curious about the underside of this truck is freaking mint. I mean mint. A little bit of a translate, but anyway, there's the starter. I'm underneath it currently. Oh my god, look, where I've been losing all that weight. I fit. Mama, I fit now. No, but anyway, we gotta get busy. Yeah, we're gonna pull this starter, pull these exhaust. Man, they're 9/16. I thought they'd be 13s, but they're 9/16. Yeah, I need to pull the exhaust starter power off here. We don't need to actually pull the starter, just the starter power. And yeah, that should be it for that. Then we just got to come back here and we got to pull the shift linkage and then the drive shaft way down there. But yeah, this truck is super duper pooper clean. Oh yeah. Look at that. But let's get this starter unhooked and this exhaust. You guys know how to do that, right? Alright, so I have the harness off now. The exhaust is unbolted, and I unbolted the tail shaft on the transmission cross member. But these motor mounts don't have bolts, which means they are bolted directly to the pad the way it looks, which is a poor design. I've never seen that before. Usually they have the bolt straight through, but if you look, if you can get in there, let me see. Where are they at? Okay, they're on the other side. Here we go. Now you can see there's no through bolt. So apparently I have to pull the bolts from underneath that go into the bottom of the pad, which is a bad design. Again, it sucks. Yeah, that's just a poor design. So apparently underneath that mount, well, there might be one bolt underneath that mount, so that's just holding it. I don't know. We'll find out right here in a second. Now comes the part I am not fond of. I have to squeeze under here and unbolt that drive shaft. I would like to leave the truck in the air in the front, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get that rear end up without it being down, because this has that cantilever style suspension, which means it has two long trailing arms, so it goes like that. Might not be able to get it to lift up enough on one side, but we'll try. We'll see if we can first, and then we'll find out. So that's sketchy at best, but you know what? It's gonna work. I need to go outside and get my other drain pan, just in case we get a little trans leakage after I pull the drive shaft. I don't want it all in my floor. I already have oil in my floor from my car. I believe those are 10s, but we'll get 11 to 12 and a 3/8 also. Oh, 3/8 6-point. Crawl up under there and I don't need a light. But yes, let's crawl up under there and see what we get. Turns out these are 13s, and it turns out I also forgot something. Let's roll over here. Speedo cable. It's still got to come off too. Everything else is unhooked, so just that. Look, somebody's put new hardware underneath this thing. Bed floor on the bottom looks real sweet. Everything back here. This is the cleanest truck I've ever seen. I am wicked dizzy laying down under here right now. I don't know what that's all about, but yeah. Let's pull these U-joint bolts. So yeah, that come out real easy. Probably because them were barely tight. The drive shaft was like new still. Again, both new U-joints on it. Got a little bit of the red dripping down in there. It's getting a little bloody. But yeah, I'm going to go on the other side, pull the speedometer cable, and yeah, at that point it should be ready to pull. I'll have to drop it back down on the ground, of course. I am going to get a glove and tape the crap out of that glove on that tail shaft though. My plugs don't get here till Wednesday, but I'm not waiting till Wednesday to pull it. So the U-joints, or not the U-joints, the drive shaft's out. The speedo's off. That's right, no speedo on me. But only thing I got left to do now is the motor mount bolts and then drop the whole thing back down. Unfortunately, these motor mount bolts, they go from under here through here. If you can see, I can't even see it, but it's up here. Huh, it's too dark. But, oh wait, no it don't. It goes up through here. Yep, one big motor mount bolt. Right up through the bottom of that motor mount. So that's a good thing. Oh, I can see it. Okay. Can you see it? No, it's too dark. But it appears to be a 14. I thought it would be like a 16. But yes, a 14. And there's literally no good way to get to it. Besides just, you know, wrenching it out of there. So, let me get the size and pull these two motor mount bolts and set this thing back down. Well, literally everything is unbolted and unhooked now. Oh, nope, I still got to remove the power steering lines. But I am going to pull this hood too. I've marked it with a chalk marker on both sides to keep it where it was. I'm going to go get old Dad, tell him come here, and we'll pull the hood off, set it over in the storage part so it don't get dinged or dented or anything like that. Pull the two power steering lines and hook up the leveler for the cherry picker and pull this motor out. And after that, I'll probably be done for tonight. The next thing, I'll have to get the LS brought over here to where I can start stripping the stuff off it, cleaning it. I've got a lot of stuff to paint. Like literally a lot of stuff to paint. Not really. Just the motor and trans mounts and the motor and the intake. Yeah, got a lot of stuff to paint. But this baby's pretty much ready to come out. I can't think of anything else I have to pull. I unhooked the oil gauge. Wiring's off of it. Exhaust is off of it. Trans mount's gone. Motor mounts are off. Trans lines are off. Of course, there's no radiator or fuel. Yeah, I don't see anything else I need to take off here. So yeah, that's it. Just pull these power steering lines, pull this hood, pull this motor. Should be out. Well, this ain't good. So last night when I had went to bed, I didn't really think about it, but I had put a little crappy cap over the gas line. And if you could smell it right now, you'd pass out. But apparently, there's now like quarter tank of gas in my floor. Lovely. I'm probably going to get the water hose and spray this out. Try to get some of the fumes out of here. And I'm going to have to leave these doors open for a little bit. It is terribly strong in here. But I believe I definitely need to spray this out. I have a squeegee now, so I can squeegee it too. But it's way too strong to do anything in here right now. And I can't let this dry because it'll just be strong forever then. Well, thankfully, I got that cleaned out. It's still pretty strong in here. I'm going to let it blow dry the floor a little bit. I needed to wash the engine bay of the truck anyway, so it's outside. I scrubbed it with my broom, sprayed a little orange, what was that, orange glow? Not orange glow, Goo Gone, orange scented around, scrubbed it a little bit, sprayed it again, squeegeed it. Will it work? I don't know. But I do know that that sealer I put on here, I'm surprised it didn't get eat off by the gas. It's funny, water-based. But it's clean. It's still very, very strong in here. So I'm going to let it dry and go do some running. Oh, it's so strong in here. So I'm just going to give this a little quick cleaning. Just, you know, the frame rails. You know, the core a little bit, just enough to get all the old nasty off of it and let it sit for a while. But my favorite thing to use is oven cleaner. It literally takes everything off. So, but yeah, all this nasty coming off of here. This stuff does choke me to death because it's literally spraying acid. So get her nice and clean. Yeah. Let that sit for about 15 minutes. That's the only parts I'm worried about. I don't want to hit the firewall too much, so that way it don't, you know, un-orange it, I guess you would say. But yeah, this stuff will eat away all that nasty. So I have something clean to work with. I'm not worried about the trans cross member because it's coming out. So don't need to clean it. Not touching the outside of the truck. It's literally all motor work for me. So that's all I'm going to mess with. Well, engine bay is clean enough now. I'm going to let this dry a little bit. I swear, I'm like half a step away from putting a drill bit through this in the rear too, so it drains. I hate that. But yeah, let her all dry out now. The garage is starting to smell good again now, so it don't smell like gas. But, yep, pretty much gonna let this clean itself in the sun and be done with it so I can pull it back in. I got to pull out the cross member and yeah, figure out the new mounts and everything like that, how it goes. Everything's got to get painted. But yeah, easy McShmeezy. I don't know if I put them marks in there or if they were already there. I might have to get a little bit of some kind of orange paint and touch it up. It's probably just competition orange, so it'd be pretty easy to get. However, I don't want it to look like that. While we are sort of chilling like a villain today, let's work on what we have here. This is the giant cross member for the transmission. This is from TW or 10 Works Fabrications. I keep saying TW because it says 10W. But this is from 10 Works Fabrication. This is the cross member. It is laser cut and TIG welded. I mean, it is a beautiful piece. Mandrel bends in the front here. They're not cut and bent. They're actually, you know, bent with a good bender. All the TIG welds penetrated very nice in the back. It is hollow, it's not boxed or anything, which it ain't gonna matter. I'm gonna kill them dogs. Yeah, got the slots here, so you can run basically any transmission you want. Sauce cutouts, but real nice piece. And of course, when you order a nice big old piece, you get some packages of candy. Hey, I'm on a diet, I can't even have those. I just took the sticker out of one. But we gotta see what else we got here. This is, I believe, for the LS Swap. Yes, it is. Part number is 6372-C10-ESCM. Is there one on there too? Nope, it's only on that one. But what we got in here? Okay, new trans mount. This was ordered as a kit straight from eBay, I believe, where we got this from, but a lot of paper packaging here. Again, this is the mount, I believe, that mounts to the frame for this. Yeah, these are the mounts for the cross member for the other side to box it in a little bit. Your hardware labeled transmission cross member ends. All grade 8 fasteners. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Here's the other one. And again, this is all the same kit. So this all comes as one big box. Clean that up later. Yeah, these are the ends. Hardware, trans mount. So I was even thinking to myself, hey, I'm gonna have to reuse that crappy trans mount, but it don't look like it now. So let's see what else we got. Chassis mounts. These are polyurethane. You know what I don't see in here though? No polyurethane grease. That's alright, I got some. So chassis mounts. So I'm gonna say that's for the motor mounts. Here's what I was really concerned about. Did it come with swap plates? It does come with swap plates. Again, they are beautifully welded. I don't believe this is TIG. I believe this is MIG on this. Pretty sure that's TIG, but these look MIG welded. Good penetration. I wish they would have welded the back too, but no big deal. This is all 1/4 inch steel, so it's good stuff. It's not cheap. Again, great plates. They are stamped P. Does that one say D? Yep. Oh, good. See, because sometimes I get confused by the L and R. Passenger, driver. That's a better way to do it. We were just talking about this the other day, me and Potter was, and he's like, it's always driver, passenger, and blah blah blah, and I'm like, okay, whatever. But yeah, some L and R. I'm a more of a P and D type, you know. Motor mount hardware, again, grade 8, best stuff. Ooh boy. So yeah, buddy. Look at that. That is a sexy piece of artwork right here. Dang, bruh. Is this one also labeled P&D? Yeah, it is. Driver. Wow. Now what this is it hangs on your frame. Goes down to your cross member. Bolts up with all this grade 8 hardware. What kind of nuts are they using on these? Nylock nuts too. Awesome. So this is so far an amazing kit, this is the whole kit. Again, this is 10 Works Fabrication, amazing kit. Now, you know, there's two ways you can build one of these: the cheap way and the easy way. Because cheap ain't easy and easy ain't cheap. But if you just buy a swap kit like this, it makes your whole life a whole lot easier. So all this beautiful work's gonna have to be painted, of course. But let's take a closer look here. You can see those are some. Now these, I believe, are definitely TIG welded. I don't know why. Well, those could be TIG. Maybe not though. Maybe it's all MIG. Maybe it's just a really good MIG. So I couldn't tell you really. This definitely, to me, looks TIG, not MIG at all. But this is some really, really nice stuff. Of course, it's all got to get cleaned. It's covered in oil and grease. I have to clean every bit of it and paint every bit of it. Now I'm going to paint these a semi-gloss black, which is about the same color as the frame. That also means these have to come out. And I'll save them for somebody. I'll probably even take the motor mounts off the motor, and I'll save it for somebody doing a whole small block swapping one. But tin works. Very, very nice stuff.
Sounds good.
Gotta do the old jelly roll, tuck and roll up under here. Here, you hold that for me. And this wrench too. So up in here is that lower mount bolt. I need the, ow, that hurt my elbow. Need the drill to impact off this side. If I can get it on it in the blind. Alright, I'm on it. And the wrench to go up into here to hold the other side. And there we go. Ooh, try not to hit myself in the face with anything. It's my money maker. Right. You're still gonna have to use the drill to pull that out. Yep. Just try not to get hit in the face with grade 8 hardware. Whoa, I'm dizzy. Still a little bit of gas now. Now I gotta jump over this other side and do it too real quick. Before I pass out from gas fumes. I don't know if I can get it in reverse or not. Not just too short. Okay. Get this side. That side. Now, ow, the upper side we can do with the truck back on the ground. Both of the nuts must have rolled under the jack. Let's get out from underneath here. 4 pass out from gas fumes. Now for these upper mount pipe pieces, just swing the belly over there and reach under and pop her off. Same setup. And that brings your passenger side small block Chevy mount off. Now I just gotta do the same thing to the driver's side. Well, I just remembered I'm making a video here, and yeah, already squirted them with black, so let's continue squirting this black. This is Rust-Oleum, it's just satin black. Again, dry as satin, looks glossy as all crap at first. This is an enamel. I got an enamel on purpose because enamel is harder than anything else, so. Squirt them on down. Again, these things are going to get abused and used. This isn't a trailer clean. This is a driver. So I'm just hosing it down. Make it look good. But it will probably last quite a while considering I primed it and everything. We just don't want it to be rust under there, so. And we want it to look good too, for as long as it does. Well, that's that side. Let her dry. So the last thing I had to do tonight was pull the trans mount, and basically it's unbolted, but I believe this truck was like a frame off restoration or something, because the bolts that come down through the frame over here into the trans mount are like this long, and they won't come up because it hits the floor. So tomorrow I'm gonna have to push them up, and I'm gonna have to cut them off with at the top of the frame. It's the only thing I can do to get them out. So I'm gonna wait for tomorrow for that, to where make sure this gas is all dry and it just don't woof on fire on me. But that's pretty much it for tonight. Pretty tired. I got mounts off, a lot of parts cleaned, did a lot of cleaning in here, and did some running. So we'll get them off tomorrow and hopefully have the whole frame ready to go. The parts are outside. I got to get them in. I don't think they're going to drive with it being, one, nighttime. It starts getting pretty humid. And two, we're getting rain tomorrow supposedly, which means I need to cover that old motor up. But that is all for me tonight. Good progress in 2 days though. Well, before I got a chance to crawl under and sawzall some tops of bolts off, the LS came. Yay! Now this thing has, I think it was just under 100,000 miles on it. It is complete. Complete. I sure hope it's got red blue plug on it. This was from an 01 model, I believe. But yeah, now I got to start stripping it down. Headers, or manifolds in this case, chuck them. Got to strip off all this old hoses. Not using the AC compressor, not using the wiring harness, not using a clutch fan. Gonna have different fuel lines, different trans lines. Yeah, so all this stuff has to come off. I need to pull the alternator bracket and alternator. I need to pull the water pump because I got to put a honking cam in it. But yeah, all the intake's coming off. I mean, it's going to be a block and a transmission by the time I'm done. Not really. It's going to be have all the internals. But we're ordering some valve covers, you know, that cover this, so I got to paint them. The heads actually look incredibly clean. In fact, the block looks incredibly clean. Again, 100,000 miles, so this is a very clean motor. Ooh, come on. We've got some broke coil packs, baby. Dang, he broke 2 coil packs. We'll have to get, I think I have 2, but dang, he broke 2 coil packs. That sucks. So we're definitely gonna have to put 2 coil packs on it. But that's what my day is going to consist of now. Crawling back under there and cutting them bolts off, pulling that cross member out, getting the rest of that stuff, or getting that stuff finished painted, and stripping the motor. Just a fun little day here.
Sounds bad. Sounds bad.
Most times I can pull them off with a hammer and the big crescent wrench, but sometimes when they want to act stupid, So that's what I did. I air hammered it off there. It's all in the preference. I just don't like doing it the air hammer way. But she's off now. Another piece for the garbage pile. So the last thing I've got to take off, which is before I have dinner, is the starter power bolt and the ignition trigger. And the harness will be off. And this babe's pretty close to stripped till I start really getting into it. By really getting into it, I mean pulling headers or manifolds. In this case, I need to pull all the front accessories off, everything. So, but for now, it's pretty much stripped. I still need to crawl up under here tonight before wrestling comes on, because it's Wednesday, baby. If you don't watch it, you know, you don't care, but I love it. So I need to crawl up under here and cut these 4 upper bolts to remove that cross member, and then all the mounts will be gone. I still need to finish painting them, but as you can see, it did just finish raining like crazy. So it's supposed to be clear tomorrow. I'll get them back out, finish painting them. Right now this thing is digging into my concrete right there, and it's kind of upsetting me. Yeah, so I'm gonna sort of get this thing to where it's not digging into my concrete tonight before I close up. But finish pulling this harness. The harness is, I'm gonna put in a stack over here. People still buy these to redo them. We're not gonna mess with it. We're not messing with that intake. I will probably need the injectors out of it, so I'll take that and use them. But, you know, lots to do still. I need to remove a lot of these brackets that we're not going to use. Yep. That's where I'm at. Alright, another day, another wet mess. It's just, rained all night, so. Anywho, I need to continue stripping this. I've got to pull basically everything off still. Well, not everything. I did most of it last night. But coil pack's got to come off. Alternator bracket, power steering pump, all that's got to come off. Water pump's got to come off. Manifold's got to come off. The tubing, or not tubing, the trans lines have to come off. Not using those. And yeah, at that point, it'll basically be where I need it, which is ready to start cleaning anyway. Get it outside and get it clean before I start doing things like pulling the timing cover, because I need to put the cam and stuff in before I paint it. Because, get away from me, fly. Because, you know, I have to pull the timing cover, replace that, replace the water pump gasket. Water pump can get painted off because it don't need to be on there. What else needs done here? I'll check that out. Them head gaskets look brand new. Actually, them look like MLS gaskets at that, too. Somebody might have been in this motor once before. That'd be something to pull this and pull the cam out, and it's got an aftermarket cam in it. It'd be hilarious. I'd keep it, but you don't need to know that, so. Yeah, what I'll probably do is pull the valve covers and pull all the rockers and then put the valve covers back on before I clean it. So that way all of the valves are closed, so I can clean all this real good. I'll have to go get some oven cleaner. That's what I clean them all with, oven cleaner. Most of the LSs are aluminum, you know, except for the block. Everything else is aluminum. Aluminum heads, valve covers, water pump, timing cover, everything. So, you know, it's a pretty easy engine to clean. If you want to make it look a little brighter and cleaner, you can go get muriatic acid or aluminum wheel brightener, which is basically muriatic acid. So, other than that, not much left to do before I start doing things like the cam and painting it and stuff like that. Now, I am going to make the decision to paint this valley cover just because there's not really that much orange on this engine, really. I mean, it's going to be the water pump, the block, and that valley cover. Everything else is aluminum. I want to keep the aluminum look, of course. He did order some Chevy LS coil covers, so it's going to look real good, and they're black. Now, he would like me to keep the intake black, but I want it orange. Just because there's no orange going to be anywhere. It's going to be black in a giant black hole. But if I paint the orange, it sort of extends the firewall out and makes it look a little bit better, in my opinion. But we'll have to see. I'll mock it up after I get everything else done, and we'll really figure out what looks best. But let's get back at it. Alright, for some of you guys who might be new to this, this is a power steering pulley puller. You have to have it for these. These are basically pressed on. you'll actually have another tool that screws in and twists it on, but it's just like a little clam. You find out which ends you need. Some are bigger than other. So that goes on. This goes in the center, and then your retaining ring goes around it. And that's all you have to do to pull this. Now that's a specialty tool. It doesn't work for anything else. So that's what you get when you buy it. Then you just, ow, that was my knuckle because I got the right size wrench. But yeah. Ugh. I'm gonna have to get an impact, but that's what you do is you hold it, boop, pulls it off, and it's a specialty tool again. That's all you're gonna use it for. There's not a multi-tool for it. But let me get an impact and I'll show you. So I just use my cordless, not even really an impact driver, but Craftsman does pretty good with these. I've been using this for about 2 years now, and I put them through the paces. You should really oil those before you start doing this, but just yanks her right off there. Good to go. Didn't hurt the tool at all, but now we just continue on stripping it. If there's one thing you can depend on the LS, it's having a broken exhaust stud. I've got 2 on this side. I know there's 1 on the other, so that's 3. This one kind of sucks over here because it's pretty deep in the head. That one don't matter. Wait, that one right there don't matter. The other side, let's find out. I'm pretty sure we're probably going to end up with another broken one. If I had to guess, the other broken one will be this one, because it's always that one, but this one, it's got a good stud on it, so let's crank them out of there. Well, that one's got the dipstick right next to it, so that one's out. That one's out. It's going pretty good. If the engine would stop moving while I'm trying to do stuff. It just leaves getting that one back enough to get it out. Well, 3 totals, so that's not bad. I'll just weld a nut on them and extract them on out. We're gonna let that sit for about 15-20 minutes, hose it off, and then I'll probably do another round of it, just because I really like getting it really clean, because I don't want greasy hands, and not to mention I don't want that grease underneath that paint to burn off the second I paint it. Now, if you guys are interested in what I'm going to use to paint it, there's two products I use. One, I really only use the primer. That's Duplicolor Engine Enamel Primer. That's the only primer I like to use. Now, I don't care for their paint though. Now, if I'm doing paint, I only use VHT. Yeah, that's it. It's going Chevy Orange. I don't like Chevy Orange, but you know what? It is that color. So, I like my engines to match, look real good. So, that's the paint I'm going to use. And I usually do a coat or two on the engine, and I only do one coat of primer. I bought these yesterday too. Transmission plugs, yay! Probably never. Now I'll probably never use them again, honestly. But yeah. Other than that, it's really just oven cleaning and using a small scrub brush, scrubbing all the stuff, getting it all cleaned up, hosing it all down, and then, you know, starting the process of taping everything off. But I'll do all the paint work after I pull the cam and stuff and replace it, because, you know, I don't want any grease on it, and I don't want peeling paint from where I'm pulling parts on and off. And of course, before I paint, I need to pull the 3 broken studs in the heads, but that's no big deal. I can wheel the welder out here, or even put the engine back here and pull my welder over and just weld some nuts on there, pull them right off, no problem, easy peasy. But yep, I like my engines really clean, and you can see it really just eats away at all that nastiness, and the hose will clean it out. And then what I'll do is I'll take my air hose and stick down in each port and blow the water out of everything. The exhaust port's not too worried about, but definitely on the intake ports. So I have done cleaning this motor twice, and I'm sitting here going, why isn't this thing getting as clean as it normally does? I mean, it's pretty clean, but it's nowhere near as clean. These, like all this stuff, usually is gone. Like, it's completely gone. It eats away. It just runs down the motor. And I'm sitting here thinking, why isn't this motor getting that clean? I just figured it out. Right here, boys and girls. Right there. Do not use fume free. This is like using the new paint stripper versus the old paint stripper. And I know somebody right now just went, oh God. Yeah, that stuff sucks when it's fume free. So, done used 2 cans. I didn't buy them. I had my mom get them for me while she was out. So now I got to go back to Dollar General. I wasn't going to share the name. But anyway, I got to go back to Dollar General and get the yellow cans of heavy duty, the stuff that'll choke you out when you spray it on, and then do the motor again. Sucks. But at least I got the power washer out now. I've power washed it too, which tells you how, you know, little that engine cleaner did. Engine cleaner, oven cleaner, but still. Don't use the blue can, get the yellow can. So that's the difference right there between fume free and that stuff. One, that's about as close as I can get. My lungs are already burning. But look at what it's doing around the bolts. Eating it. Just eating it. The other stuff would not do that. We're going to let this sit for about 15 minutes, and we'll come back and power wash it. So, it's a new day now. It's a beautiful Friday out. So, I need to put this cam kit in today. The kit does come with the new cover gaskets and water pump gaskets, and actually comes with a new center bolt for the crank. And you don't have to use it, but you know, it's highly recommended. The fun part's going to be getting this one off. Hopefully it ain't as bad as the rest of it. What is this crap? Powder. Must be from all the cleaner I put on it, but it's real nice and clean now. I'll put the cam kit in, then I will tape off the heads, the valley cover, and the oil pan, and the transmission, paint the block. I'll pull out the water pump, and it's got to get painted. Those are all going orange. Got to tape off the pulley for it because it's not getting painted. But yeah, all that's got to get painted. I'm going to slightly wire wheel some of the aluminum cover and the block to get it really clean. I'm probably going to pull the starter also just to make sure I get all the paint behind it and primer. You know, I want it to look real good. I think we were going to go ahead and replace that starter because this bolt right there is actually bent from where it got put into the truck. Not by us, by the other guy. So yeah, there's a bit that's got to be done today. I actually ordered a, let me see if I can't find what I did with it. Is that it? That's it. This is a dual valve spring compressor from Max Peening Rod. I've never used their brand anything before, but I do watch Young Static. If you guys are watching any import stuff, and he uses their stuff a lot, so we'll give that a shot. Before I pull that apart though, I'm gonna go ahead and pull these back outside and finish blacking them out. Make sure they all look real good before, you know, I get really heavy into the engine part of painting and everything, because it will take a while to get all that stuff done. So let's paint these first. Alright, we got to pull the crank off. Crank pulley anyway, not the crank. I'm pulling no crank out. That would just be not good. Not good at all. That's not good. That's not good at all. Not good at all. God, that freaking impact sucks. Not good. Not good at all. Can't get this baby to work. Why are these valves still opening? I can't even strong enough to burn it off. BS is this? This is amazing. I've never had one do this before. Even bolts come out pretty easy. Weak sauce impact though. Not good. Weak impact. Well, let's figure out another way. Just a little bit of heat's all it required. Heat up that thread locker. Yep, really hot. And it's out. I got a specialty puller for this. You don't have to, well, you kind of have to have one. Funny thing is, I believe this is for GM, LS, and just the LS and Chrysler 6-cylinder, like not even 6-cylinder. What are they? They're PT Cruiser engines, which is horrible because PT Cruisers suck. Sorry if you own a PT Cruiser, but they suck. My grandfather had one. My uncle had one. They'll tell you, they suck. Yeah, it's been a while since I've used this thing, so takes a rod, got these 3 hooks, they hook right there, put this in the center. Yeah, my fingers would work right today. I hate being bent over working on stuff. You definitely want to lube your impact bolt in. Lube her up. You need that lubrosity. Okay. Yeah. Alright. Should reverse this thing. Hopefully this comes out and don't pull the end of the crank off with it. Never seen it happen, but I've heard stories. She's a coming. Pretty sure she's off. Yep. See, now, I'm not that type of guy who's like, buy, the puller for everything, buy the specific tool for everything. But, as somebody who's poor, and has to, you know, did a lot without the right tools to begin with. The right tool isn't necessarily because it's the right tool. The right tool is because it's the fast tool. This makes removing that fast. You don't have to have 3 jaw pullers and, you know, a bunch of crap trying to rig up a way to pull that thing off. You just buy one of these or rent one. They rent these at, you know, O'Reilly's. O'Reilly's is the only place I go. I got a couple buddies that work there. Lee, Cody, Andrew. What's the other guy's name? Jerry? Is it Jerry? I think it's Jerry. Jerry and John. You know, those are all the good fellas. And there's a Richie that works there too. Am I right? Come on. I'm Richard. He's Richard. My dad's Richard. We got too many Richards going on around here. Where all these Richards come from? But yeah, that's off. The kit came with a new, oh, that's still hot, a new crank bolt because they're thread locked on. But you can reuse that one. It's no big deal. Let me swap to the drill and start pulling timing cover bolts. We'll get to see how the inside of this baby looks. Now that I've got the torch out, torch that bolt out. These are all 10s. 2 under here, 12. Actually, I don't know how many. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 8, 9, 10. 10 bolts on the timing cover. Valve cover's got to come off, and then we get to try the valve cover or the dual valve spring tool from Max Speed Rods. Let me move this. So I sort of see something I'm a little concerned about. Not really, but you see how nice and polished all these are? Now look at these. Do you see it? Polished, polished, not polished, not polished. This is 1, 3, 5, and 7. This is 2, 4, 6, and 8. Now it looks like 2's fine. 4 has 1. Yeah, 6 has 2 like that, and 8 has 1. Now, they don't appear to be mushroomed or anything. They look fine. Kind of looks like the rockers wore a little differently. But I'll check it out and see, just in case we need different push rods. At least 4 of them. So after looking these over, looking at the rocker tips, there's nothing wrong with them. They're just discolored. That's it. They just look bad. They're still smooth. So we're just going to roll with them. We're going to clean the motor real good after we get it back together. So next step, pull my timing chain. Alright, so let's pull off this timing chain. Or shall I say this timing gear. Yeah, I'll toss these down in here. Then we'll pull this out. Drop the chain. We want this back. Alright, let me see here. I want to do a spin on it now. Get back in your hole. There we go. That probably wasn't enough spin to put them lifters up. So yeah, we're gonna fight these lifters the whole time. This is your cam retainer plate. If you didn't know, now you know. These three separated. Gotta keep them separated. There we go. Cam retainer plate looks absolutely fine. Well, maybe not. What's that about? Some RTV on that thing. I don't know if it came with a new camera retainer seal or anything. See, these holes right here is what you stick the dowel rods in. If you can get the cam to spin fast enough to hold them in. So, let me see if I can't find some dowels or some round rod to stick in them holes. What do I need? I need a good 2-foot dowel rod, probably. Let's see what I can find. So I'm attempting to get the old cam out now, and it's just putting a fight up. I've got two 1/4 inch, which are probably 5/16 on the outside, extensions in the lifter hole. You know what I'm saying? The dowel holes like everybody uses. And for some reason, it's acting like it don't want to catch them lifters. It's being a pain. You can see they got the cam pulled out just a little bit, trying to figure out what lifter is actually catching. But it just sounds like it's catching in the back for some reason. It sounds like it's in the middle of the motor. Yeah, so it's just giving me a fit right now. I'm getting aggravated with it. I've been working on it for like an hour trying to get that thing out. Not an hour, like 30 minutes, but let's see if I can't get her out without dropping lifters and pulling heads. Well, I figured out my problem now. I was catching all of them but this back one, and all of them but the second from last one on that side. In other words, my dowels are not long enough. So I've got to get some dowel rods. Sucks. It's giving me fits right now, but other than that, it's going smooth. I do need to figure out my lifter, or not lifter, but valve spring puller, so I can get it ready to use after I get the cam in. Once the cam and everything's in, it'll start going easy then, but that's always got to give you a problem with them stupid lifters.